What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Nothing But the Game. We are back.
Back.
We're back.
And it feels so good.
Just life and things, and that and
Mm-hmm.
family and that stuff is always going to take precedence over that. But we are back.
Amen.
We are here for you. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
tuning in, just today I think I don't want to sound like an amateur, but
We are hobbyists here.
we are
So
hobbyists. Yes, we are kind of winging it today. So if you're making
yeah.
if you're making a fantasy football push for the playoffs and you're trying to, this is pretty much trade deadline week
Yeah.
for everyone, huh? Like this is
Yeah, you start getting those trade deadlines coming in, depending on what kind of leagues you got. But if it's not your trade deadline, you have to be honestly assessing your team. Am I, on a dynasty side, am I boom or bust, getting it going now? Or am I kind of, all right, withdrawing back and reevaluating what I've got? It's a beautiful thing about that dynasty side, man. It's no matter what side, it takes some kind of thought process and
right.
strategy.
So how you been, dude?
Man, if you can't tell, I've been working on this really toned in, raspy voice, courtesy of chest cold, bronchitis, something like that. I don't know, but I've really been honing in on that. So that's pretty much what I've been focusing on the past week.
It's
Just yeah.
It's very aggro, man. I like it.
Yeah, it's
you got the rock, like
That's just because since we last had in here, I got a haircut too. That was probably breaking news if we had been jumping the last few weeks. Got a haircut, so now my headset won't hold all my hair back.
Yeah, no, I mean this is good. We
got the to represent the rock hood over here, so
we look like you look like the star of the show here. I mean, this is.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about right now. I mean, it would have been the case before we got jumped on here. I'm glad you made that shirt change because now I can't get the song Blue's Clues out of my head.
Yes.
I felt like you were about to bust out your notepad and your crayon.
Today was one of those the laundry days that are where you're busting out the old golf shirts for work because you got nothing left, So.
Oh, I know exactly. You come out of the closet and your wife's like, "Babe, are you gonna go running today?"
Right.
Oh no, God no! I'm just I had to fish this out of the closet somewhere.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh man.
So, but yeah, man. All right, so let's just jump right into it here. So we got the week 10 just passed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been a very, very interesting season. I love just the I mean, you kind of said it earlier, this any given Sunday kind of mentality of an entire season, and I mean, I love it, man. This is entertaining football. I feel like this is the direction that the league wants to be heading in, right? Where it's extremely competitive.
The parity is just it's wonderful to see going into a season when you have all these top end analytics groups looking at things, be like, all right, you've got these guys, and how just vastly. I don't love seeing people be vastly wrong. I'm always on that side anyway, so I'm used to it. So I'm always welcoming in people and coming in here with the wrong thoughts there. But man, it is seeing Giants. Seeing guys like the Washington Redskins are actually in the playoff hunt.
Commanders.
Oh my gosh, I have said that twice now, or 3 times now.
It's okay.
Yeah, the Commanders actually in the playoff hunt. And then seeing teams that we thought were going to be shoo-ins, like after making big moves, like the Chargers. We don't know what's going to go down with that.
The entire AFC West. I mean, in general, minus. I mean, it's just the irony of it all is like the whole, in the AFC West, you thought out of all of it, you thought the Chiefs might have got worse for trading Tyreek Hill, and then all the other teams got better, right, to compete with them, and it's not that at all.
It's just the opposite. Yeah, they
absolutely like.
Well, they didn't lose a step, but now the Dolphins have inherited Tyreek Hill, and he's just taken off into, I don't want to say another level, but he's just seeing it. And the Dolphins, that whole AFC East is insane. It makes it super fun. I love it too, specifically when you have a single division that's so stinking strong and actually being able to push it in there. Because I'm so used to like you having a lot of these divisions where like, okay, well, you've got like 1-2 teams clearly in the divisions. But when you have like the AFC East and the NFC East kind of combos, I don't. Yeah, I want to watch every single one of the. I want to watch all the games, period, no matter what. Right. But it just creates this much more in depth like competition. It almost kind of has it. I don't mean take it over, but like to a different sport, but like European soccer, when you've got like the relegation and the promotion leagues, where no matter what, every single week matters. Even if you suck, it matters. When you have divisions, normally if you have guys that suck, okay, it doesn't matter. But with these divisions that are just dominating, it makes every single week so much more important. And I love watching that kind of football.
Yeah, I mean,
fantasy or not.
I feel extremely guilty because I totally, 2 weeks ago I had the Commanders just done. I was like, get Sam Howell in there. This kid needs reps because he is the future of your team. Like all these things, and they've turned it around. They rally around Tyler Heineke, like, and not that he's, it's not that he's amazing or that he's playing out of his mind, but leadership on the field is such a
That's it.
It's such an important aspect of the game that people aren't.
I don't know. Sorry, I've stepped on your toes there. You froze first on my side.
You froze too. You were pointing at the screen.
Oh shoot! Everybody froze.
Everyone froze.
No, it was probably all on my side here. Come on, Starlink.
Please. just to the point, like leadership on the field is such an important aspect, and confidence. It's not always statistics, and like playing football and playing fantasy football are totally two different things. So. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Commanders, dude. That's a huge win. That's a absolute huge win, and hopefully they can continue. Brian Robinson looks like he's really starting to get going.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping that they'll be able to actually use Gibson and Robinson complementary.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that too, because you had a lot of people talking about how it was just going to be the demise of Antonio Gibson. Gibson is a extremely talented player, especially out of the wide receiver slot, which he played a lot in college. And I think they're both going to find a niche as long as that offense can stay in a rhythm and support that.
Yeah, you kind of saw towards the end of the game when Gibson got hurt. Brian Robinson was in there, and Heineke wasn't looking his way at all. Like I don't think Robinson is the type of back that was going to, But I don't know. It was good. It was good to see Terry McLaurin was really vibing. Like it was just a really really exciting game, and I'm excited, and I hope the Commanders can capitalize from that win and continue to push forward and just make that entire NFC playoff push super super competitive, man. Look at
man, as a Cowboys fan, I love seeing it where no matter what, it's a competitive week every single time. And right now, it is not something that's a given. Like obviously Philadelphia looks insane. They look awesome. Even in that loss, they shot themselves in the foot. There's a lot of weird things that happened in that game, but there's also a lot of things that they baffed themselves. And so being able to focus in on hone in on those mistakes, they'll be able to do that, and they're going to come back maybe even stronger. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because the way that they've got their whole offensive rolling and defense rolling, it's going to be something. Washington gave a good little template for it, but those coaches are going to be able to focus that in and really.
I'll even argue that point. I don't even think that, like people like to say that, when a team beats a really good team, like, oh, that's the blueprint on how to beat them. Like, I don't even think that Washington came close to really setting the blueprint on how to beat the Eagles, because
I think what they did was show the. Well, yeah. I feel like you are right on the point there, because what they did to sabotage themselves really is what kept Washington kind of in that game.
Because Washington was
controlling that offensive line. What was obviously, no matter what, that's going to matter. But really making sure that you can just pound the ball and stay consistent and just have those defensive either stops or turnovers.
Yeah,
that's a great way to get it going, because you're keeping that offense off the field. I think that was the best thing that they did, was just they didn't try to, hey, we had to try to take advantage and jump ahead on this. They just kept pounding the rock.
It was just I kind of want to call it an unrealistic type game. I mean, they were like 13 for 15 on third down, right? And
I don't know that part. Yeah, that's crazy if so.
Right, and that's just how many opportunities that they had, how many third and shorts that they had, and they were successful on it. Like, it was a very unrealistic. I mean, they won the line of scrimmage in terms of offense, right? But when they got down to the red zone, they weren't really punching in touchdowns, and it kept Philadelphia in the game the whole time. And essentially, Philadelphia was in the game until the very end, So it's
really until that Watkins big catch fumble.
Man,
that was the backbreaker there.
That was crazy, but I mean, all right, enough about Washington.
We could probably talk 20 minutes on each game.
The irony of it, man, is I was big on Washington last year. I
remember whenever I jumped in.
Yeah, I was. I was super big on them. I love their defensive line. I thought that, but yeah,
and that defensive line was looking short-handed. They looked fierce.
That was also when Fitzpatrick was supposed to be their starting quarterback, and I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean,
and Heineke is still there.
Yeah,
getting it going.
Oh
man.
So I mean, since we're on the topic of NFC and just kind of looking at certain things here. So you have like Seattle 6-4 on top of the NFC West, and I don't really necessarily think that that's sustainable. I think the best team coming out of the West is the 49ers by far.
Yeah. The additions that they've made and the health that they've rejuvenated now.
Yeah. I mean, even guys like Brandon Ayuk's super involved in that offense now.
Oh yeah.
Which just and I in terms of fantasy, I really thought the idea of Christian McCaffrey going over there was going to hurt him fantasy football wise. But I mean, between last week with Debo out, and then his production was obviously through the roof, and then even this week, man, he still had a touchdown. I mean, he got me 17 points, which is a solid day from a running back. So like, I don't really truly think it's going to affect CMC fantasy wise.
Yeah, I think what we had talked about too going into that trade, I can't remember which episode it was, but we were talking about how it was going to be that quality of and drop of quantity. Because they're not going to be sending him in here to run the ball 18 times and receive the ball 6 times. That's not what they're going to do. You're going to see him run that ball 15 times and receive the ball 3-4 times.
Right.
Maybe more, but just depending on the health and whatnot. But those that he is getting, there's so much more talent, and the way that offenses run, they're going to spread that out a whole lot more. And I think you're seeing that because I'm looking at it on here real quick. Yeah, he had 14 targets last time, 17.7 points. Not a typical McCaffrey type game, but it's only his second game with them, really.
Right.
So Yeah,
They had the bye last week, and then like
yeah, and they played the Rams the week before, and when he it'll be super interesting at Arizona this time around because just interdivisional, and Arizona's pretty much playing for their playoff hopes at this point. Obviously, they can make it up, but they've got to get some kind of momentum going against the divisional opponent.
yeah. Speaking of Arizona, I was really surprised to see that they released Eno Benjamin.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you on that. We haven't even touched on this through chit chatting. Do you think that is confidence in like the rookie Keontae Ingram they got in the background where he played a little bit and showed pretty strong on there, or it was confusing to me because he has been productive for that team.
Yeah,
and he does present a decent asset of being able to receive the ball out of the backfield, and especially with a guy like James Conner, who historically you don't know health wise, he could go down.
I mean,
pretty simply.
I just wonder if James Conner isn't hurt. Like, are they trading Eno Benjamin at the deadline then? In anticipation, like I don't know. I mean, obviously, clearly it's a statement of confidence in the rookie.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I was just if I'm that organization, right? Like, I'm trying to keep the ball out of Kyler Murray's hands as much as possible.
Thank you. I'm right there with you.
So yeah.
And being on Hopkins is massively important. Obviously, he comes back, has a great, has some, just jumps right back in there with no skip in his or hip in his skip or whatever they call that. Yeah, he just gets right back in there, is going. He's awesome. And seeing Colt McCoy kind of jump in there and being able to sling it around relatively decently.
Yeah.
For his 36-year-old backup quarterback or whatever he is.
Yeah, he's kind of the next Josh McCown, isn't he? Like,
yes. Yeah. I don't think that they need to be. I've said it before. I don't like Murray long term, fantasy wise, or as an actual NFL quarterback, which inverse makes it in the fantasy wise. He's just, there isn't that next step growth that's happening. And like you said, it does make me confused why they got rid of Eno Benjamin, because then I figure you could at least rely on that running back, because that Keontae Ingram is a awesome out of the backfield receiving wide receiver, running back. I mean, college, did both at Texas and USC. He established that, and he's got the moves to be able to actually kind of extend the play a little bit, but nothing flashy. But Eno Benjamin has that flashiness, where he can actually has that speed.
Right.
To burst it open. And James Conner, he's pretty much just a bulldoze forward, goal line guy.
But I mean, even so, like, I mean, last year he was the most productive running back in the red zone, but clearly being hurt. I mean,
so I got rid of him for a first round pick as soon as he hit that 10th touchdown. I was like, freaking sell that dude now.
I mean, so all right, so we talked about the West. I mean, I don't know. Is there anything in particular in the NFC that we talked about the East and we really talked about the West, and those are truly the most, I would say, competitive divisions within each other, right? And then you have, the Vikings are pretty much running away with the North.
Oh yeah.
I am excited in terms of, the success that Justin Fields has been having on the field. Like,
yeah,
I'm excited for
I'd love to touch on that. So what are your thoughts fantasy wise? Dynasty, Justin Fields, with the emergence of his just elite running. Like, we knew he had it, but just the last 2 games he's put out there have flashed some pretty sexy numbers. Curious to see what you think on that, like his dynasty future.
I mean, if it was me personally, I'm selling him.
hey, we got to disagree on something.
Okay.
No, no, I'm right there with you.
Like
What's your reasoning like process on it? Because it is interesting. I'm in a few different like chat groups and different people talking about it, and it is a heated discussion. He's blossoming. He's showing numbers that like Lamar Jackson was showing rushing wise whenever he was in his first or second year. There's a lot of like statistical stuff, but obviously we're more of the eyes on watching,
yeah,
with some statistics sprinkled in.
I mean, well, I mean, exactly to your point there, I have zero faith in that organization in terms of team building to continue to allow Justin Fields to grow, right? So this is very much like, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of taking it back here, like Vince Young year 2 type thing, right? It's like Vince Young year 2 or Vince Young rookie season. Like he came out, he lit up the league. People were like, okay, Vince Young's the real deal. And then, I mean, the Titans couldn't do anything for him. They couldn't build, they couldn't do rosters. They couldn't build rosters for him. Like it was just, I mean, who did he have? Chris Johnson, maybe, like, so that's very much the type of situation that I think the Bears are in, dude. I just don't see, I mean, I think I think we're both on agreement that Darnell Mooney is a phenomenal receiver. Is he a 1 though?
He's not a 1.
No, right? I mean, there was hype about Cole Kmet. I mean, granted, he had a he had a touchdown out of blown coverage last week, but I mean, other than this past week, has Cole Kmet done anything in the tight end position for them? I mean, even David Montgomery is.
He's wasting away his prime time, his prime years.
Right. It's like, I just have no faith in the organization.
Khalil Herbert's now on the IR, so I mean,
I just I don't know. I don't have faith in the organization, and that's why I'm trying to sell Justin Fields. So
and the one move I did like that they made was the Chase Claypool bringing him in before on the trade deadline. I like that because he is a bigger body receiver coming into a team where Darnell Mooney is the number 1, but he is not a big body number 1, or he's not a number 1, period.
Yeah.
I don't think Chase Claypool is a number 1 either.
No.
You're almost throwing hey, let's throw out 2 number 2s and see what's happening, but it's better than what they had going on.
Oh, I mean, for sure.
But even with that addition, now you're not seeing this emergence of Claypool or the utilization. You're seeing what I was mainly worried about with Fields coming out of college is the reliance on his legs and that progression of his reads. And I haven't gone into it, breaking down the video and seeing, who was open or anything like that, but just seeing the amount of rushing yards, scramble yards. I don't want to say all rushing yards, a lot of that scrambling around, figuring it out. It is a little more concerning on that end. And if he can keep it going, that's great. The rest of the year, he might be an awesome 2022 quarterback option to have. Top 10 quarterback, great. Dynasty wise, I don't see that being a long-term prospect to actually work out. And they have, they have a first and a second, a third, 2 fourths, and a fifth next year. We do have a decently deep 2023 wide receiver class coming in. I'd love to see them put day 1, day 2 into one of the watch for them. That could make a massive difference if he can build that kind of connection. Yeah. But I'm there with you. I'm selling, not selling cheap. I'm trying to sell high right now. He's got the points, the hype going on right now. So
right. I mean, so I have this thing, like I'm very excited for him. I'm excited to see that he's having success currently in the league. But I mean, that, you know what I mean? That's, I don't know. I don't
We're
really know.
We're building fantasy rosters to win.
Right.
That's, it's the difference of watching the games and having, I'd be like, oh shoot, man, this guy's awesome and fun to watch. But then like, all right, how long is this sustainable?
This is coming from the guy whose 2 starting quarterbacks are Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. So
which league is that? Because I know your 2 starting quarterbacks in one of our other leagues is Malik Willis, and I don't even know the other one.
But I tell you what, I mean, look at that. Look at the trade for T.J. Hawkinson, dude. T.J. Hawkinson is totally going to be super productive in that Minnesota offense.
Oh yeah, he's one of the tight ends you took instead of a quarterback. Hey, no, and watching him, I don't know, like you see, and I hate saying this because we have been on Detroit. We love Detroit. With the shoot, they're still in technically the playoff hunt. Technically,
yeah,
so
I mean,
but they're the way that they've been playing. They look awesome. They're fun. But that move from Detroit to Minnesota, it seems like it's ignited a competitiveness within TJ Hawkinson. And it's got this like deep fire going in there. He's like, it's the cultural fit probably. It works great. He knows he's on the team that is gunning for it this year, and he's going to be an integral piece.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fantasy-wise, I had I wish I knew this because I had somebody offer me TJ in a dynasty league, and I like him anyways, but just the pieces that were going in there, I was like, I don't like it too much, as of now, the next 2 years. But with him going there, he's a top. I mean, he's an instant smash play, top 5, top 4 tight end.
Oh, I mean, for sure. He essentially becomes, in my opinion, kind of the number 2 read there for Kirk Cousins. I mean, JJ.
Mm-hmm.
I mean.
He's going to supplant Thielen.
KJ Osborne, right? KJ Osborne.
Oh, yeah.
And Adam Thielen are productive. But, I mean, Adam Thielen's production has gone down the last couple of years. I mean,
he's past that 28, that cliff there. So you're going to start seeing it taper off.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, so he instantly becomes, number 2 target there, and I mean, you saw it this past week against Buffalo. I mean, he had some great. He had a touchdown. He had, I don't even know what his stat line was, but I can tell you that he was just sitting right down there in the middle of that defense, dude, just taking 5-10 yards every catch. So,
TJ was. I mean, it wasn't anything like crazy. It's just watching the game and seeing how they're playing. That's the vibe. He had 10 targets.
Yeah,
caught 7 of them.
Yeah. So PPR, that's 7 points plus a touchdown. I mean, so now you're looking at just 13 points there on top of yards. So on top of yards.
And I know one of those targets were in the end zone.
Yeah,
where he had that ability. He's going to be targeted more there. Like he was in Detroit, he was targeted in the end zone. But I mean, this year he had only eclipsed 10 targets once. Everything else has been 5-4, 5-4, 5-4, 7-7.
Right.
So
which is absolutely understandable. Understandable based on the amount, the amount of talent that Detroit has on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, even well, I don't know. Actually, even when DeAndre Swift was out, like if what you're saying, you're reading off his targets, so he still wasn't even getting targeted.
Yeah,
he still wasn't really getting
when Swift was out those last few weeks, he was only getting 4, 5, 4.
Yeah,
targets. And that was also with Amon-Ra St. Brown being down too.
Right.
So it's something going on there. He's going to get utilized. It's going to be a lot. He's going to be a lot more fun to watch out in Minnesota.
Let's jump over to. We'll jump over to the AFC. I mean, I kind of like this flow that we got going on, just blending, what's happening in the league right now in terms of fantasy football. So,
yeah. I mean, we could make a quick, easy switch. I mentioned a 29-year-old receiver or 30-year-old receiver, Thielen. Let's go to the AFC side. Hit up a guy who just got hurt. That was probably the focal point for most of people's dynasty teams or fantasy teams, period. 29-year-old Cooper Kupp now hitting up on the IR, possibly with a season-ending ankle surgery going down. That's kind of crazy.
I mean, so they're sitting at 3-6 right now.
Yeah, they're reigning.
They're 3-6. They're the bottom of the NFC West. They've already lost. Did they lose twice already to San Francisco?
can't remember.
I know.
I'm gonna look it up right now though, because yeah, it's yeah, that is a big difference there. Because if they've already lost that twice, right there, yeah, they played San Francisco twice already.
Did they lose both or did they win one?
I think, yeah, pretty sure they lost both those. I'm pulling up that right now.
Okay, I'm trying.
But it's, while we're looking this part up, I can actually, in regards to Cooper Kupp himself, dynasty wise, I had actually made a trade for him, in a league. I definitely have a contender. So you got that, focus. You hit that week 8 time frame.
Mm-hmm.
You should know ahead of time what it is, but the NFL season is crazy. You never know. And so I was like, hey, I'm a full blown contender. I know it's gonna go. I'm placing 3rd. So I made a trade for Cooper Kupp. I traded away, and this is a Devy league too. So these picks are depleted already.
Right.
But I traded away Trevor Lawrence and 2 2024 first round picks for Cooper Kupp. And this was 3 weeks ago. So I got 1 week of utilization out of him. It was awesome. He, did typical Cooper Kupp thing. May have overpaid a little bit, but I'm set on quarterback in that league. Now hit IR. Cooper Kupp hits IR. I'm like, oh my gosh. And you cannot, fantasy football dynasty especially, you have to, be like water. You got to flow with it. You cannot just be like, oh my gosh, I traded that away. I'm going to hold on to him because, if you feel like you got to hold, that's great. Hodl it up. But so now I actually just made a trade today, straight up Cooper Kupp for 2023 first, Miles Sanders and Darnell Mooney for IR Cooper Kupp. So it's not looking for a grade right off the bat. I'm just like, it's one of those things where you see, you buy a stock, it's like peaking up, and then all of a sudden, let's use a recent news, FTX finds for fraud going on. Now it's crashing. You're like, oh shoot.
I like I don't know. I kind of like the trade. To be honest, Miles Sanders is probably gonna move, and maybe he peaks at another team for sure. So I think, longevity wise and maybe you could get like a solid 2 years out of him for that. I think we touched on the Darnell Mooney stuff enough, in recent shows. I don't know. I like it. I actually traded. So last year, you want to talk about sell high? Like, I traded Cooper Kupp last season, when he's having this just phenomenal season, unreal. Yeah. And I traded him for. Oh shucks, who did I get out? So I got Stephon Diggs and Christian McCaffrey, and I also gave. So I sent Cooper Kupp at a first, or Cooper Kupp at a second in return for CMC and Stephon Diggs, and then I ended up trading
reaping rewards this year.
Yeah. Well, and then at the beginning of the season, because I kind of bought into the whole Gabe Davis hype, I decided to trade Stephon Diggs. And I got a first, Mike Gesicki, and some other running back, because I was really hurting at the running back position. In my process of thinking, right, and me, like I'm always looking at football in a totally different way than what the stats are saying. My thought process and all of that was, was Miami using the speed on the outside for Gesicki to sit in the zone and just reap up targets, and really hasn't quite paid off for me yet. He's on the franchise tag right now this year.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he moves on next season. 'Cause I think Gesicki is a freak, man. I think he's an
No,
extremely I think he's an
his
extremely talented.
athleticism,
Yeah,
Cowboys franchise tag. Go get him. Get second to the Cowboys. I would love to see that. Something where you've got an actual athletic tight end in there.
right.
He does have freak abilities, and it's just I mean, honestly, he's lost in the wash out there because Tua has shown that he can manage all that speed and all that talent
Right.
and decipher quickly, which is
Um,
it's been fun, a lot of fun to watch.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I back to your whole trade though. I mean, I think it's a good trade, man. I think in the end game, like you're gonna reap the benefits out of that versus because I mean, look at what the Rams are doing. Stafford is not. He's not playing to the he got a Super Bowl and it's like that caliber is
Yeah,
gone.
It does seem like they threw the book, they threw everything but the kitchen sink at that team last year,
Yeah, and
acquiring whatever they can, get everything going, and they got it.
yeah,
But you're kind of seeing that back end of it where it's now the age of the team,
yep.
and along with the build. I don't know. It just doesn't look like a gelled team. Oops. Yeah, it sucks to see, especially with all the talent that they have going on there, and you never know what will end up happening. Get a wild card and just get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to just throw that one out there. I didn't mean a sidetrack.
No. I mean, it's good, man. This is what we're doing here, you know. So in terms of AFC playoff picture right now, you have the Chiefs, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Ravens, the Jets, the Bills, and the Patriots. And then in the hunt, I'm going to call it like in the realistic hunt, you got Chargers, Bengals, Colts.
Yeah. Chargers, Bengals, Colts. We'll see a big one for the Colts this week. That'd be insane. But oh man, and big one for the Chargers. I didn't realize they were playing the Chiefs this week again.
Yeah, the Chargers are playing the Chiefs. I mean, the Chargers' problem, I mean, it's clearly been so like. I feel like they've definitely. Well, one, so Herbert gets hurt earlier in the year. He's got this rib injury, and then I feel like Brandon Staley is just kind of, it's almost like he's on a pitch count, man. That's like That's like the best way to put it. I mean, I know that he's lacking. I know that he's lacking. His wide receivers.
Badly. He's missing Keenan big time.
Mike Williams.
And Mike Williams the last few weeks.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's like he's on this pitch count. I feel like they're very transparent on what it is that they're trying to do on offense, which is just feed Austin Eckler, get Austin Eckler, catch it out the backfield, and then
dump it off to Austin Eckler nonstop. That's the extension of their run game.
So, I mean, which it works and it doesn't. I mean,
yeah, it's I don't think that defense is also living up to.
No, not at all.
The names. It's like last year's Redskins. You're looking on paper, you're like, holy crap. Yeah, don't want to play them. And this year it's like, okay, yeah. I don't mind putting up my wide receivers against those guys.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I'm not impressed with their defense at all.
No.
I mean, and defense complements offense and vice versa, but like it's not like the Chargers aren't driving the ball, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting how it all plays out here. I mean, in terms of, you got the Ravens at 6-3, you got the Bengals at 5-4, and then you got the Browns and the Steelers. I mean, I feel like you can kind of chalk the Browns and the Steelers up. I mean, Steelers definitely Um, I mean, they did just get back T.J. Watt. Kenny Pickett is kind of starting to pick up a feel for the game. You know, if they
Yeah,
can,
he's starting to blossom a little later than I was thinking, but he is starting to. He's a lot of fun to watch. I'm glad he ended up being with the Titans. Oh my gosh, I'm reading the Titans right here. The Steelers.
Yeah. You know,
because
I mean, and then George Pickens is obviously, emerging as exactly what we thought he was going to emerge as.
Yeah.
So
you could tell Steelers were comfortable getting rid of one of their other emerging guys, Claypool, because of him.
Right.
But he's a more complete receiver. He runs routes way more precise, and he has hands to rival the top elite guys.
Yeah. What about Najee? Are you selling Najee right now?
So I wouldn't sell him on the fact that he had more on the downturn, and I think he is infinitely better than what the first 7-6 games of the season were for him.
Yeah.
So you would be selling low. Really depends on the makeup of your team there. If I had him, somebody was still willing to offer up something relatively respectable for him. I'm trying to think of a comp here. I would, if somebody was willing to give me a first for him, and that first was, that was going to be a top 10 pick, pretty much.
Yeah.
I would sell him for a first top 10 pick at this moment, because there's running backs coming out of this class that I'm way more excited about.
Right.
And I like Najee a lot. But his utilization there, and that seeing the vision that's been going on, it's not this explosive, can't contain running back. He's just kind of played as on par with like a Zeke year 3, year 4 kind of guy,
right?
Where it's just like hitting the hole, and he'll fall forward for the extra 2 or 3 yards, but there's nothing like really exciting about it. And what you drafted him for and probably got him for, you want to be excited for somebody like that. So if you're able to get him for a first, I would 2023 first, I'd be going for it.
I don't know. I feel like, as much as I want to talk about the AFC here, I just kind of feel like I feel like the NFC is more interesting than the AFC, which is normally not the case. I feel like I feel like the writing. I feel like you okay there?
Sorry. Part of this, cultivating this raspy sound also comes with some unfortunate
right
coughing. Ooh.
I just feel like I feel like the writing is on the wall for the AFC. If that,
like the entire AFC division, like it's pretty.
The conference is pretty, so like, I saw a really interesting stat today, and I can't quote it verbatim, but it was essentially that the Patriots are playing the most conservative, protective type football right now. And they're winning games, right? They're playing super conservative. They're not turning the ball over at all. They're not taking big shots downfield. They're not doing anything over the top, and they are winning games still. And that just is your typical, it's your typical Belichick style of,
that chess mind. He's just he's playing the game. It's every move has its reason.
Right.
He really is playing it that way.
So you got like the Patriots. So they're at 5-4. They're sitting in the 7th seed, and if the Jets, the Jets defense is extremely good. It is extremely good and extremely talented. And I'm not, by no means am I sitting here saying that, their defense is going to carry them to a championship here, but like, it's good. And if their offense can be, productive enough,
Yeah.
Like I would say maybe like they swap. They swap. Like I don't know. I mean, this could be the first year ever. I mean, granted, we were kind of talking this like pre-show here, where like an entire division makes the playoffs, and you're looking at the AFC East, man. Like,
Dude, that would be now, and it's crazy to think like it's all the hype going in with New York teams in general, but the Jets right now, just because they're well beyond what people are expecting them to be. It could be inverse. More should be thinking 3-6. But it is super interesting that this game, Patriots, their big bugaboo. You can't just Patriots have never been able to get it. If you look at it team by team, the Jets, I am more excited about and confident with the talent that they have, what they've assembled on the offensive side and defensive side. Yet, if the Patriots can just manage like he always does,
right,
and pull this out, they have the exact same record, and New England would have that tiebreaker going. So,
right,
yeah, it is really crazy because everybody's hyped up with the Jets, and what you said about the Patriots, they're just managing, and everybody's like, oh, they've got a down year. Oh, okay, they're just kind of doing what they're doing, but in reality, they're one win away this week from being in that number 5-6 spots on that wild card.
Yeah,
and
well, I mean, they have. I mean, so actually, kind of silly to think about. If they were to beat New England, they jump up to 7-3. They actually jump up.
Oh yeah, if the Jets win. Yeah, I was talking about if the New England
wins. My bad, misunderstanding. But because the Jets beat Miami, I think.
Oh shoot, yeah, they would
jump up to like the 2 seed, the current 2 seed.
Yeah, because Miami's on the bye, so they would actually jump up to the 2 seed, and you'd be looking at Miami as the depending on what the Bills do and everything. Man, that division is just insane.
Now I'm just like so curious here. So give me a second because I need to see who the Jets lost to.
And going into this year, I don't know if I know I made some bold predictions. You can say bold predictions. I try to stand by them. If you're in my fantasy leagues, you see I stand by them because I get guys that kind of match up what I'm thinking.
Right.
I had put out there Tua and Jalen Hurts are going to be top 5 quarterbacks this year. Tua getting hurt kind of threw a kink in that, but the way that he's playing right now, he's pretty much doing so. I was thinking this was going to be a Miami-Buffalo division.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't think Miami was going to be. I didn't think they were going to be close to Buffalo. Maybe 1 or 2 games behind. But being that the situation is right now, this division is I haven't actually detailed looked at it on a playoff breakdown.
Right.
This is kind of blowing my mind at this moment.
I'm just kind of. I don't have all the facts in front of me, but. So week 1, the Jets lose. Week 1, the Jets lose to the Ravens, and the Ravens are playing the Panthers. So essentially, you're looking at something like the Ravens go up to 2, the Jets go to 3, Miami then goes down to 5, Buffalo stays at 6. And then the Bengals play the Steelers. So this is under the assumption that the Chargers lose to the Chiefs.
Which that rivalry is, never something you want to assume on because that's always a lot of fun to watch.
It really is, man. I mean,
but with the injuries that are stacked up against the Chargers right now,
right?
Yeah, you would have to think. I mean, even I don't know.
So
Everett is Everett set to play this week? Oh, he practiced on Wednesday. Okay, yeah, so he's playing. I know he was hurt.
So you're looking at the Bengals. The Bengals, beat the Steelers, so the Bengals move up to 7. But the Bengals have not beat the Browns.
Yeah, the Bengals, man, I love just this jumping between teams and looking at them. There's like every single team I see this year is just so very.
They lost. They lost to the Browns. So
yeah,
They lost to the Browns 32. Yeah, oh, that's right. That was that Thursday. It was a Monday night game. That's right. They smoked them. Nick Chubb just had a monster
Nick
night.
Chubb was 5 touchdowns in
Yeah.
that game.
So, yeah,
Oh man,
you're looking at the Bills. Yeah, so assuming the Bills beat the Browns, the Jets beat the Patriots, the Dolphins, so the Jets jump up to 3, the Ravens jump up to 2, Titans go to 4, and then it would be Miami, Buffalo stays at 6, and then the Bengals. So like, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Just by looking at it, that's exactly how it would go. I mean, so like you're looking at, you would have 1, 2, 3. You would have five. You would have 5 teams that are 7-3. So you would have 5 teams that are 7-3 in the AFC, and then you look at the NFC, and you have 2 teams that are 8-1, and then
there's a
and then
there's a 7-2 team. You're like looking at like, what the hell are you doing there?
Right.
Why are you there, Giants?
So I mean, yeah, it's interesting, man. It's such an interesting year and parody.
It is.
Like, so yeah, man.
But with that all being said, though, the fantasy side of things, it has been a whole lot more interesting seeing a lot of the what ifs going into things with, like Saquon Barkley, big what if.
Right.
We mentioned Najee Harris, like, hey, is he going to keep getting that volume that he was getting last year? What's going to go down with Christian McCaffrey? And even with the trade, he's still proven what he is.
Right.
It has been a very what if season, but I feel like, and I'm looking at the top end guys here. We're not going crazy in depth on the lower tier 2, tier 3 guys, but I feel like a lot of these what ifs are clearly seen right now. And any teams that are making in that playoff push for their dynasty leagues, there isn't a whole lot of but what about here, and what's going on with this guy, and is McCaffrey still going to get this volume, or is Najee going to bump it up? I think what you're seeing now is what you're going to see with a majority of these guys, and you have to make a move for those players, even if at beginning of the season they were in your top 20 and now they're a top 10 candidate. A lot of these guys are going to stay in that realm, if not bump up, because of moves that have been made either due to trade or injuries that have happened on their teams. And so I know I'd love to, get in with that. Maybe next week we can hit closer, because what week are we in? Week 11? We'll be finishing up next week.
Yeah, week 11, and then
week 11. And I know a lot of playoffs start kind of hitting around that week 15 timeline.
Right.
So, yeah, I think next week would be a great time for us to jump in and hit a lot of those, trade now, buy now guys. I think a lot of trade deadlines hit around the 11th, 12th week. So, definitely tune in and check out with us to see if we can give you any kind of insight, and ask us any questions too, and join us live on the chat.
Yeah. So real quick, let me just pick your brain real fast. So,
yes. Well, I'm about to sneak something on you too. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We got 3 minutes here. Let's wrap it up. So, first time ever in this dynasty league that I'm in. This is actually the one that I'm the commissioner of. For the first time ever, I have 5 wins.
Ooh.
I was on our
nasty over there.
On our initial draft, I was very draft young guy. You know what I mean? I drafted very young. I went for a lot of young talent. I didn't really look for stability or anything like that, and I'm some of that stuff's really starting to pay out. So here I am. I'm playing another guy that is 5-5 as well. So this is a pretty close match.
Ooh, this is a make or break matchup.
So I have to start Zach Wilson because I really don't have anybody else. Trevor Lawrence is on the bye this week. I have Sam Howell in my back pocket. I'm just ready for him to break out.
Oh,
I know.
Keep waiting.
I know.
His time will come, I think. But
yeah, dude. I mean, this is so. Right now, currently starting. I have Zach Wilson, Devin Singletary. So it's supposed to be like a snow game here in Buffalo. So I'm anticipating Singletary getting as many touches as possible. Christian McCaffrey. I got DJ Moore, which is just absolutely let me down this season.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Gerald Everett, George Wilson. And then here's what I have. Yeah.
Jeff Wilson? Are you talking about the Miami running back now?
No, George Jets wide receiver.
Garrett. Are you talking about Garrett?
Garrett, yeah, what did I say? George. You
said George Wilson.
It's I mixed.
I was throwing me off my else. I don't know why I threw such a big blank in my brain, like George Wilson.
It was like George
the
Pickens,
name George.
George Pickens, Garrett Wilson. It was so yes, I'm sorry, Garrett Wilson. And then in terms of the one question, like the DJ Moore, right? So PJ Walker's hurt. PJ Walker's been the only one that's fed DJ Moore at all, if anything. PJ Walker's hurt. Baker Mayfield's set to start. So I kind of want to move Garrett Wilson up to wide receiver 2, and I need to find a flex. So my flexes they're not much here. They're not anything at all. I got Chase Edmonds, Kenneth Gainwell, Devontae Parker, MVS, and Nico Collins, essentially. I have Romeo Doubs as well, but he's out.
So pretty much you're debating them or DJ Moore?
Yeah, I know, right? It's really hard to pick. I kind of want to go with the Chase Edmonds against the Vegas, but there's still Melvin Gordon, and they seem to not know how to utilize Chase Edmonds either. So
yeah, man, yeah, that one, Chase, yeah, I wouldn't touch Chase Edmonds in that situation still. I don't know why. I just don't really. The fact that he's moved from one team to another now, and they're not able to utilize him fully.
The fact that Miami paid him what they did, and then they traded him was mind-boggling, dude. Like, just
I mean, they knew what they had, and if you,
clearly
they brought in Jeff Wilson from the 49ers. Like, hey,
absolutely,
I know what's going on here.
Last 2 weeks, like,
yeah, I mean, between Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson, I bring you over from the team that I know you're good. Familiarity. Right. I don't know if it's familiarity thing or if there's a work ethic on, Edmund's side. As much as I hate to say it, because he has been so. If you're looking for a dependable piece,
right? It's DJ Moore.
DJ Moore is not going to be your. I'm not so reliable on DJ Moore, but he has the bigger boom of potential. Right. And if you're putting him in a flex spot, which, from what I was hearing, it sounds like you would be. I typically like to find on the flex to be a little bit more feeling ability. Depending on my opponent, there's a lot of strategy that goes into that, but I would go more DJ Moore.
So, I mean, besides...
I like Devontae Parker if he's healthy.
Yeah.
But for more consistent points, I mean, Devontae Parker has been... outside of him being injured, I want to say he's been about like 10 plus points in PPR
when Bailey Zappi was starting.
When Bailey Zappi was starting, yeah, 22.6, 10.4, 10.4, 9.8. Those are all when he's actually played,
right,
without being injured. So yeah,
I was really excited.
Yeah,
but yeah, all right. So I mean, I'm gonna go with my gut then here, and I'm playing the DJ Moore thing. So I'm glad that took up 5 minutes of it.
5 minutes of this.
So you said
yeah, man. So I was wanting to throw down last time we talked about wanting to introduce more segments. We had a little bit of a hiatus here, and we want to kind of get a little bit of some more fantasy knowledge out there. We do put out a Devi football videos on the YouTube channel. Due to timing as well, we were a little bit of a hiatus there, but we're gonna start picking that up a little bit more going towards the end of the college football season, especially once we hit into college football, start draft, all that stuff. We're gonna really pound it with a lot of analytics. I'm not gonna drop anything too crazy on you here. I want to start introducing maybe a Devy guide to look out for, either Devy or Dynasty, something that's applicable on both. So if you're in Dynasty rosters, look out for him in 2023. May not be the big name. I'm going to throw out there a Tennessee wide receiver that, and it's not the one that you're probably thinking of, because I know Mel Kiper has put recently Jalen Hyatt as his number 2 wide receiver coming out of the 2023 class. As of, I think, last week, he put that on there. This is not the guy I'm talking about. I'm talking about Cedric Tillman here. Cedric Tillman he's been injured majority of the season. He came back. He showed well against Alabama and potentially a first-round draft pick cornerback out of Alabama. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Looked outstanding. So I just want to drop some guys in there for y'all to keep an eye out for. Not going to throw any crazy statistics, but go look up Cedric Tillman. We'll be doing some videos on guys come that off-season window.
Yeah.
And giving some more breakdowns. But want to put some people on your radars there. For y'all to kind of keep an eye out for. If you are in a Devy league, you probably already know these guys. But for the Dynasty guys out there, look around, see what picks you're going to be getting, projecting out there, kind of planning out the future of what your team's going to be looking like.
Yeah,
so,
man, I'm excited. I'm so excited for the more, for more content and to really start moving in that direction of Devy and at the end of the day, this is a podcast called Nothing But the Game, and that's what we want to talk about is nothing but the game. The present, the future.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to throw the past out there eventually. Sometimes. So
we bring it up every once in a while. Yeah. Nostalgia. You can't blame us too much.
I try not to age myself too much on here, but
you still look 21 years old, and it's just like you're Navy boy over there.
So, but all right, everyone. I think that's we're gonna wrap it up tonight. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at NBTG_podcast. Be sure to tune in for some more Devy videos here. We're gonna get some playlists, some playlists going of actually breaking down our different types of videos and stuff. And if you have any ideas of maybe content that you want to see or hear about, feel free to drop something in the comments below, and we'll check it out. We definitely are looking to grow, and we really want to, move this thing forward. We want to be all season long type thing, all year round type thing. So,
no days off.
No days off. Yes.
Aside from the last 2 weeks, ignore that.
But all right, thanks for tuning in tonight, and be sure to check us out next week, 8 p.m. Eastern time, every Wednesday. All right, so have a good night.
Peace.